Welcome to Roscoe Squeeze Off, the podcast. It's your boy Roscoe Squeeze Off, world's foremost authority on everything. And also the same Roscoe Squeeze Off from Show on the Go, the podcast. I want to talk about the Baltimore Ravens today. I'm talking sports. So when I talk sports, I do Roscoe Squeeze Off, the podcast. And I want to talk about the Ravens game. This is the aftermath of the Ravens Bengals week 5 game. Now, the Ravens did win the game handily, but honestly, their play selection, I thought, was tremendously poor. They were able to maintain and do well because of the defense was amazing. I think the defense played absolutely amazing for the Ravens. One of the best defensive performances they've had in a while. You know, they held a team to 3 points. They were stagnant. For Cincinnati's offense, they were stagnant. Couldn't move the ball well. Had several turnovers. The Ravens defense actually scored a touchdown in this game. And the score was 27-3 was the final score. But that being said, it was a little bit off for the Ravens. I mean, to be honest with you, that may have been, out of all the games that he's played, that might have been the worst game that Lamar Jackson has played. I mean, he just was off a little bit, man. He had missed open receivers. He should have had 3 interceptions. He only had 1, but he should have had 3, man. It was pretty shabby how he looked. I mean, I don't want to, be too hard on him, but he didn't run the ball at all. I mean, that might have been from a knee injury. He was held out of a couple of practices this week, and he only had 3 yards rushing, which is the lowest he's ever had in the game since, I think they said since he played West Virginia in college one year. In college, he was inaccurate with his passes, man. In fact, he was 19 of 37 for 180 yards, two touchdowns and 1 interception. But he had 2 other interceptions that were dead to rights between the numbers on the different defenders, and they just dropped him. So he could have easily had 3 interceptions. Now, the problem I worried about was the game plan, because I gave you the keys to victory for this game, and I thought the definite key would have been running the ball. And for some reason, there was no running of the ball. I mean, there was none, but they were very effective running the ball and just did not stick to it. I mean, they had 161 yards on 24 carries. I mean, they averaged 6.7 yards per carry. You think that means run the ball, go ahead and dominate. But no, they ran the ball in a game where they were ahead the entire game 24 times and passed 37 times. So maybe they thought they were working on things and they want to try to get Lamar up to speed or what have you. But if the plan is to win games, it should be doing kind of what we did last year, because last year we were the best team in the league heading into the playoffs. And this year we've gotten away. We've tried to turn Jackson into Mahomes. Just put him back there and no running back or anything, and let him just work miracles. And that's not really his game. I mean, he can do it, sometimes. It's not his consistent game. Every time I got put in the keys to victory there, or I put in the first quarter of the season breakdown on that podcast. Every time Lamar Jackson passes the ball, there should be a play action pass. We should be running the ball close to trying to get the goal should be to get to 40 rushes per game, because we run the ball so effectively. We average over 6 yards per carry in this game, and in many games. Teams have not been able to show that they can stop our running game. No team, actually. Any game that our running game has not done what it's supposed to do has been because we have stopped running the ball. We have yet to have a situation where the defending team has stopped running the ball again. I mean, stopped us from running the ball. Even that San Diego game, I mean, we gave up early because we got behind. So any game we have a lead, we seem to win. We've only given up a lead one time since Lamar's been here, and that was to the Kansas City Chiefs. We're up by 7 points and end up losing the game, or 6 or 7 points, we end up losing the game. But this game, I mean, the defense was stellar as far as the points allowed, not letting drives be sustained. Now, we weren't on the field as long as I would like, because our goal when you run the ball should also be to get time of possession. And in this game, we had 25 minutes and 21 seconds time of possession. Now, you might say we won, and I'm nitpicking, but if we want to beat better teams, I mean, this team is just bad. I mean, they had the number 1 pick in the draft for a reason, because you weren't good. And we need to do better. We have to establish time of possession. And by establishing time of possession means either you're making short completions or completions, and you're running the ball. So we just barely over 50% passing the ball. We were very inaccurate. We had some open guys, as far as some missed throws there down the field. We had a deep one to Hollywood Brown that was just completely, 5 yards overshot. I think he had 2 of those to Hollywood Brown. And another thing I don't like is that it seems like he forces the ball in this game, at least, and he pretty much every game, but definitely this game against Cincinnati, he kept forcing the ball to Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown. Even sometimes when they were double covered, he would stay there, he'd stare him down, and he would wait for him. And I'll tell you, keys to the game, I thought we would get Devaney. He did get 2 catches for like a short amount of yardage, but I thought we would get Devaney and Boykins involved, because to try to, those guys should be open. Those guys can't be more than single covered, because they never get the ball. I mean, Willie Snead never gets the ball. Matter of fact, Willie Snead, let me see how many catches he got here. I don't think he got any off the top of my head. And he didn't. Snead didn't catch anything. Boykins didn't catch anything. Devaney caught 2 for 17. J.K. Dobbins caught 3 for 21. We got to do better with this distributing of the ball to multiple people. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. The creation tool allows you to record and edit a podcast right from your phone, tablet, computer, what have you. Anchor will distribute the podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You make money right from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. All you have to do is download the Anchor app. Go to anchor.fm to get started. Once again, that's anchor.fm to get started making your own podcast today. Boyle caught 1 for 2 yards. Picard caught 1 for 7 yards. Like, we need to get these guys involved, man. I don't know what is going on here, why we need to force 6 passes. Well, 10 targets to Marquise Brown. He got 6 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Andrews got 6 catches on 9 targets. And nobody else got more than 3 targets. He's really forced into those 2 guys no matter what. And the teams are keying on those guys because you're not throwing to anybody else. So you can't blame them for keying on those 2 guys in particular. But the key is we got to set the passing game up with the run like we did last year. That made him an MVP. We didn't just put... All right, let me give you an example. We will have the ball. We ran it twice. I think it was third quarter. Ran the ball twice with Edwards. And it ended up being third and 3. They got 7 yards on those 2 carries. So, you think we would put at least a running back in the backfield to make the defense decide what they want to do? If we're going to run the ball, if we're going to pass it? No. What we did was we take the running backs out of the backfield altogether, and you just know it's going to be a pass. Especially a game where it appeared that it was a concerted effort from either the team or Jackson not to run the ball as much. So maybe and like I said, he did sit out two days with a knee injury. So maybe that was an issue because he did not run as much as he normally has. Did not have really any attempts. Matter of fact, he had 2 attempts for 3 yards. So that is nothing like what he normally does. But if that's the case, you protect them by running the ball with your running backs. But like I said, 24 carries total, 161 yards. We're having 6.7 yards per carry. But yet we decided to throw the ball 37 times. We got 2 touchdowns and an interception, but I just think we gotta do better, man. We gotta do better play calling. We got a better team coming in this week in Philly. Philly's still not great, and how much better is Philly? We don't know, because they did tie. They did tie against Cincinnati when they played them, but they just gave the Steelers all they could handle in a close game, and a close, high-scoring game. And if our defense is not stellar and amazing, we need our offense to be effective. Last year, our offense moved the ball nonstop. No matter who we played in the regular season, we moved that ball down the field. We were the highest scoring team in the league. And it came from our rushing game, having the best rushing game in the history of the 100-year sport of the NFL, of football. And this year, we have not been stopped from running yet. We've stopped ourselves. We had 161 yards. You might say that's pretty decent. But on 24 carries, and we had to lead the entire game. The game was never in doubt. We should have ran that ball at bare minimum 40 times. Should have been another 16 carries on top of this. And I believe that would have led to more scores, more time possession, and a better overall game from Lamar, because when he passes at that point, if you got runners in the backfield and you do play action pass, you get wide open guys now, because when you're dominating the run, guys have to look into the backfield. And when they're looking into the backfield, that's how you hit them over the head. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to go too much. I'm not going to harp on it. I just wanted you to see what I'm talking about and see that if we do lose games here in the near future, and we got a tough schedule, the Steelers could sneak this division out, because the Steelers have a super easy schedule this year. I think the only tough game they have is the Titans and us. Every team they play are like losing teams. If you look over their schedule, man, they got a really, really soft schedule this year. So we have to win these games when we play these tough games. Let me give an example here. We have the Eagles coming up next, who's only 1-3-1. Then the Steelers, who's undefeated at the moment. Then the Colts, who are 3-2. Then the Patriots, who are 2-2, but they're playing pretty darn good. Then the Titans, who are currently 3-0. Then the Cowboys. Browns, who are 4-1 right now. Like this. All I'm saying, and hold on, after that, let me see. You got the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's a helpful one to us. And the Giants, that should help us out. And then the Bengals again. But we got some tough games ahead of us. Now, I believe we can win each and every last one of these if we play up to par, because we're a top team. But we got some tough games ahead of us. And let me go to the Steelers, let you know how easy they got it. After they play us, let me see. They play us. All right. They play the Cowboys, who looks subpar. They play the Giants. They already beat the Giants. Hold up. Let me see. All right. They got the Browns, which is a tough game for them. That's their toughest game probably so far. Then they're going to get the Titans. That's the makeup game. Then they get the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Washington football team. The Bills is a tough game. Okay, so they do have a tough game in the Bills. And they got the Colts. The Colts are not, I don't think they're that great. But at the same time, that's still going to be not an easy game. So then they got the Browns again. But they have a much easier schedule than we do, is all I'm trying to allude to. And so we have to really get on our game and get ahead. We don't want to be behind. We don't want to, not play well and drop games that we should win, because we're going to be favorite in probably every game we play for the rest of the season. Unless we start losing or something, losing streak. We're going to be favored. If Vegas were to give you odds right now, we're going to be favored almost every game we play, being that Kansas City's out the way. So what we have to do now is get our game together, our play calling together. We got to dominate the game at the line of scrimmage. And once we do that, we should go back on to our dominant ways. And the reason I say that is because no team, once again, has stopped us from running the ball. We haven't been stopped once. We've only stopped ourselves. So I'm going to let it go there. It's your boy Roscoe Squeeze Off. It's the Roscoe Squeeze Off the podcast, my sports show. Roscoe Squeeze Off of the Show on the Go fame. Ravens, we can do better. Let's get this play calling, Greg Roman. Let's get this play calling corrected. Let's get the ball run. Let's get to running the ball 35 to 40 times at least per game. And let's get that time of possession to 35 to 40 minutes per game. And we will then make every pass play a play action pass. We'll have no problems. We'll dominate this league at that point. All right, till next time, it's your boy Roscoe Squeeze Off. Peace.